All right. Are you Tarico Agnew? Okay. All right. Now calling the matter of State of Georgia versus Tariq Agnew. Do we have the officer ready?
Officer Walker, if you would, unmute your device and activate your camera. Officer Walker, can you hear me? Walker?
Yes, I am.
Okay,
I'm sorry. I just got off work. I'm trying to fix it now.
gotcha.
I say the Hispanic man there to arrest me. I can tell by the voice already.
Uh, yes, give me 1 second.
You see. I'll give you my headshot like this.
John, what have you? Um,
Attorney Lane, would you happen to have his LE number? I can't read it.
232-0043.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Bless you. You're welcome.
I'm sure I'm going as I'm ready for home my.
Oh, he's ready. The officer is ready. Okay.
Yeah, I gotta go check the sales.
right.
Proceed, Your Honor.
Hold on, let me mute the jail. Okay. So anyway, this is warrant number 2024 WA 6066569, obstruction of an officer. The other three charges, Mr. Agnew has been dismissed. So we're only proceeding on the one count of obstruction, okay? All right, you may proceed, Attorney Brooks.
Thank you, Your Honor. Officer Walker, if you will, raise your right hand. Do you swear affirm testimony you about to give in the matter not pending before the court be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. State your name for the record.
I'm Officer Walker, Riverdale Police Department.
And on October the 1st, 2024, were you employed with the Riverdale Police Department?
I was.
And in what capacity do you serve the police department?
I'm on patrol division.
On October 1st, 2024, did you respond to area 609 Allen Drive, Riverdale, Georgia?
Yes.
Was it regarding a suspicious person call?
Yes.
Is that address located here in Clayton County?
Yes, it is.
Recount for the court what happened when you arrived at that address.
So when I arrived at the scene, I was not the first officer on scene. When I arrived on scene, Mr. Agnew was standing on the way. It's an apartment complex. So he was standing at the door that was located on the top floor. He was knocking. The call that we received was that he was knocking on the door of a person who claimed that they did not know Mr. Agnew. So when my other counterparts made contact with him, because like I said, I was not the first one on scene. They was trying to remove him from the residence because they didn't know. So he was knocking on the door. So when they advised Mr. Agnew to leave the residence.
Did he leave?
No, he did not.
And you observed and witnessed the officers ask Mr. Agnew to leave the residence?
I did.
He refused to leave?
He did.
After you refused to leave, what course of action did you take at that point?
They tried to detain him by placing him in handcuffs, At this time, we didn't. At this time, we didn't have his information as well, so
Mm.
we didn't know who he was. So they was trying to get his information and things like that, put him in handcuffs, and
And
remove him from.
how were you able to get his information?
He had an ID on him uh, after being detained. We
Mhm.
was able to retrieve his ID off of his person
And his ID identified him as who?
as Tariq. I believe it's pronounced Tariq Agnew.
And the individual you identified as Tariq Agnew on the scene, you see that individual on the screen today?
Yes, I do.
And how would you identify him on the screen?
He would be a black male, uh, black or brown hair. It's kind of hard to see with the lighting. Beard.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Um, now you say that the officers attempted to detain him. Why attempted? Were you unsuccessful with detaining him?
At that moment, we were
What was he
attempting to.
doing?
So when they asked the place to put his hands behind his back, he tensed up his body. So when he tensed up his body. He wouldn't put his hands behind his back. We also used verbal commands. He denied all of those. After that, he turned away from us as if he wanted to strike one of the other officers there at that time.
In a fighting posture?
Yes, sir.
And once he took a fighting posture, what did you and the other officers do?
Me personally, I stepped back. One of the other officers did draw their taser, and they did command him because we, like I explained, we were on the top floor, so we did not want to actually engage with him on that top step because that's a liability to us as well as him.
Mm-hmm.
So after that, we gave him commands that he will be tased if he does not comply with the commands given.
Did he comply with the commands?
He did not.
Was the taser deployed?
It was.
And did it strike him?
It did strike him. The first one was unsuccessful. The second deployment did get him to cooperate as far as neuromuscular incapacitation. So he did fall to the ground. Yes.
And after that point, was he compliant?
No, he still not. We still tried to put him in handcuffs. He still, as soon as it wore off, he still had his body tense, and he would not give us his arms to place him in handcuffs.
Okay. Ultimately, were you you and other officers able to secure him in handcuffs?
Yes, eventually, yes.
Okay. And roughly how long did it take after the deployment of the taser?
Roughly, I want to say we was there for about 3 to 5 minutes still.
Okay. And once you were able to secure him in handcuffs, where did you take him after that point?
After that point, we pulled one of my patrol vehicle, we pulled it up, that way we could get closer, and he was placed inside my vehicle, my patrol vehicle.
Was he taken directly to the Clayton County Jail at that point?
He was.
No additional questions at this time here.
Elaine?
Hey, good morning, officer.
Good morning.
Who was the person that actually called you all out there in the first place?
We were dispatched from Clayton County dispatcher.
Okay. We don't have a name of who called the complaint in the first place?
I'm not sure at this time. I believe it was apartment B6, I believe. I want to say it was B6.
Okay. Do you know what they actually said? Have you looked at a transcript, or did they give you any information other than just a quote unquote suspicious person?
So the call that we received was that there was a male knocking on their door and they did not know who Mr. Agnew was.
Okay. What time of day was this?
This was roughly around, so I would say between 12 midnight and 1 a.m.
And so the complaint was that he was just simply knocking on the door?
He was knocking on the door and he wouldn't leave. And they did not know who he was.
Did they say how long he'd been knocking on the door?
I'm unaware, Your Honor. I'm sorry. Not Your Honor.
Did you all ever ask him? Did any of the officers ever talk to him and ask him what happened or what he was doing afterward?
I can't. So again, I was not the first one on scene, so I'm not sure what transpired before I got there.
All right. And just from talking with Mr. Agnew, did it seem like mentally he was lucid and able to understand your commands?
Objection. I don't know that he's competent to answer that question from a layperson perspective, but in a medical sense, I don't know that he's competent to answer the officers got the qualifications to answer that question.
Well, I think Officer Walker can let the court know if he seemed to be having some sort of crisis, if he was doing things that would indicate that he has some mental issues going. He can answer that.
In my perspective, and from my perspective, no, it did not look like he had mental incapacity, a mental episode going on at that time.
How did he appear physically? Did he have any visible injuries, especially like to the head, that maybe would have caused him to to be in a state where he couldn't understand or in shock and not understand what's going on?
From what I was able to observe, no, he didn't have any physical injuries or anything significant that would show that he had anything mentally wrong with him.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, officer. I don't have any further questions.
Or any redirect?
There is none, Your
Honor. Closing arguments. Solicitor Brooks.
We will reserve for the final close, Your Honor.
All right, Attorney Lane.
Your Honor, I just would request a dismissal of the obstruction charge. It this escalated. It could have been avoided. All we have is testimony that my client was there knocking on the door. We don't even have the name of the person who complained. We don't have any information about how long he may have been knocking on the door. It's not a crime to knock on the door. And so I would just request that this be all thrown out, and all, like I said, is an illegal arrest. It's not a crime to knock on the door, and it just escalated from that. So we just request a dismissal.
So based upon the evidence presented, I do find there is sufficient probable cause to bind this case over to the State Court of Clayton County. That's the order of the court.
Thank you.
And then what about Crawford? Do we have the officer?
Yes, Your Honor. That's Officer Jackson. Officer Jackson, if you would activate your camera and microphone.
Oh, you still have Attorney Lane. Did you need to talk to Rose first?
Hey, Judge, are y'all finished? Mr. Agnew?
Yes.
Can I
Yeah.
say something?
You done?
I have a question. Because my
Attorney
family
Lane?
be out of here for a month since the system. So how long does it normally take in order, once the bond is made, for it to show up in your system? Because I've been here since the first of last month, and
Bond is $1,000, sir, and so anybody can bond you out.
my family can't pay it because they said it's not showing up in the system. This is your system's not updated.
Yeah, it'll be updated today. The problem was the original charges were still stuck in the system. They've been dismissed this morning, and so it'll all be updated today. You should be able to bond out later this afternoon.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Go back now. Who would you need now, Judge?
Hold on one moment. Attorney Lane, it's going to be Rose Crawford.
Yes.
Do you need to speak with her first?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, let's hold on. Uh-huh.
Excuse me, Judge. Before we start, is there anybody that I can send back on the list that's not going to be seen today?
Yes. And so, of course, Agnew can go back. Chakawamu
Yes,
can
ma'am.
go back. Hemingway, Cameron Hemingway can go back. Bernard Ifield can go back. Gannett Morgan can go back. Olivia Moss can go back. Devontae Scales can go back. And Walter Willis can go back.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. And so what about Hunter? Zakiya Hunter, are we ready on Hunter?
We're ready on Crawford, and we are ready on Hunter as well, you know.
You are ready on Hunter. All right, Attorney Lane, are you ready on Hunter?
That's one judge that we just got appointed to, so I would need to meet with Hunter.
All right, so let you go into the breakout room really quickly and talk to these people before we have a hearing.
Your Honor, is it the court's intention to do Rose or Hunter next?
Rose next.
Thank you.
Whoever you guys need me to do next is fine.
It's at the court's pleasure. I believe both officers are present.
Okay. All right, so Attorney Lane, I'm putting you in 1. Deputy, if you would join room 1. Where are you? She can step. Is that Miss Rose? Right, you can go in the breakout rooms. Deputy, if you would go to the breakout room. Officer Walker, you have another case?
No, ma'am. Am I good to go?
Yes, thank you.
All
Have
right,
a
thank
great
you.
day.
Yeah, too.
Thank you.
If we could get the deputy so that she can join room 1, please. And I think we lost him. Okay, all right. May I be on hold?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor.
All right, Judge, I'm back with a couple of announcements.
All right, 1 second. All right, go ahead.
All right, on Crawford Rose, that is going to be a waiver, but we did have a request to have a bond set. I guess he was not given a bond at first appearance, so with him being in over a month now, didn't know if the court could set him.
He didn't have a bond?
No,
She didn't have a bond?
I'm not showing that.
Mm.
I think maybe because it started out in Superior Court, I believe.
Oh,
It looks like initially he was appointed to Douglas Smith.
okay. Um,
It was initially on the 10/16/2024 calendar, and then it was reset to 10/29.
okay, so, all right. And so would you like to talk to the state about a bond in exchange for the waiver? If there's no,
Uh, it appears let me just make sure. Looks like he's entitled to it.
and I think, do you see his file, his paperwork? I don't see it.
Um, the state has no objection to a $5,000 bond yard.
Lane?
Your Honor, we
He has a significant history, but it's nothing that I can see that suggests he wouldn't be entitled to a bond.
and Judge, we would just argue for a $2,500 bond, just given the fact that he has been in jail for, I would figure at least a month, maybe. I don't have the exact day.
I can tell you that. Let's see.
And Your Honor, I'm still searching as well.
He's been in custody since September the 18th.
Oh, so over a month. All right, so you guys want to go in the breakout room and talk about it, or is that your final offer, Attorney Brooks?
I can meet him at let's see. You said 2,500. I can meet you in the middle at 3,500.
Okay.
I can just compose that and send it, please,
Okay.
along with the waiver.
Okay.
Mhm. Position number 3 is going to be a judicial bind over. Position 4, same. Hemingway bound over already. Hunter, it's supposed to be a hearing. You guys ready on Hunter?
Actually, Judge, that was going to be my next announcement, that we've actually going to do a waiver on that. But again, no bond was set, and I believe it's the same reasoning that it originally came in as a felony. And so we just request if we could have a bond set since it's a misdemeanor.
Hey, Judge, this is Officer Jackson. I'm free to go for Rose Crawford.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, y'all have a good one.
You too.
You as
Take care.
well.
On Hunter, there's a note from the jail
Mhm.
that suggests that a contact mental health before being released.
Okay.
No, what's that about?
He seemed okay, Attorney Lane, when you just spoke with him?
Yeah, when I spoke with her, she did. Yeah, I didn't detect any like she understood the process, and I was just letting her know what a preliminary hearing is and the different stages. So I didn't detect anything. But that's how these things are depending on when you talk with them. Sometimes it can be different.
Okay. We'll just
Hunter,
give,
Bill.
say that again?
Miss Hunter is extremely mental health.
Extremely mental health.
Yes, ma'am.
That's Officer Chamley.
Who just said that?
Officer Shamley.
Oh, okay.
Hmm.
Well, apparently she wasn't displaying anything today. So, want to give a bond, and then if she's able to bond out, that's fine. If not, she'll already be waived.
Her local history does suggest mental health as well. Looks like as recent as 2020, she was identified as a demented person.
Mhm.
And it goes back at least locally through to 2019.
So you want to get a mental evaluation done on her, Attorney Lane?
Sure, Judge. Yeah, if that's just to be safe.
Is that a judicial bond over?
Yeah, we could do that if that procedurally, if you all think that'd be best, I can do a judicial draft one of those up.
Yes. I think that'd be better. Then as far as a bond,
I did speak as far as I guess she did request a cash bond. I guess the family's having trouble and unable to work with bonding companies. I guess all the paperwork they require, and so if
Yes.
we could ask for, I would request a cash bond, maybe $500.
She has no address on file as well.
so she's probably homeless.
There's no known address according to the intake.
Do you know if that's true, Attorney Lane?
I'm going into our system to see if I can detect an address here. Yeah, I'm not seeing her in our system. I could maybe try to meet with her again. I requested the jail holder, and I could go back and talk with her again to see if she can provide a good address.
Okay. All right. So we'll hold, but this is going to be a judicial bind over. We'll just hold on the possibility of a bond. All right. 7 was already bound over. And so it says hearing on Carl Jackson. Are we ready on Carl Jackson?
Yes, ma'am.
Aaron, I'll introduce you to Attorney Stephanie Bing. She's newly with our office. She'll be handling Mr. Jackson's hearing.
Well, good morning and welcome.
Good morning. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. All right, Deputy, if we can get Carl Jackson. I'm not sure if they even heard me. You heard me? Okay, good.
Yes, ma'am, we heard you. They coming.
As well, Your Honor, can I release Officer Shamley?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. Officer Shamley, you free to Shamley, you're free to go.
He doesn't want to leave us. All right, Attorney Lane, are you ready?
Yes, we did.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
No, there was an add-on for a jury.
I just need Officer Everson. If he can unmute and activate his camera, please. Mr. Everson?
I'm trying to get my camera to come on.
Oh, okay, no worries. Hi. Okay, if you could raise your right hand, please.
Hold on one second.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Now calling the matter of State of Georgia versus Carl Jackson, 2024 CW 72915. Your witness, Assistant Solicitor Bean.
Okay, thank you so much. Officer Everson, could you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right, thank you. You can put your hand down. Okay, can you start with stating your name for the court?
Jaya Everson.
Okay. And tell me what your involvement is with this case.
I was the responding officer.
Okay. And were you called to an incident on September 9th, 2024?
I was.
Okay. And what was the location of that incident?
I believe it was the AutoZone. I'm not sure of the exact address.
Was it actually was it 6701 Mount Zion Boulevard, Morrow, Georgia?
Yes.
Okay. And in what county was that location?
Clayton County.
Can you describe the nature of the incident you were called to?
It was in reference to two co-workers who had gotten into a physical altercation at work.
Okay. When you were called to that altercation, did you see anyone with injuries, like visible injuries?
I did.
Okay, what kind of visible injuries did you see?
He had a busted lip and a bloody nose, and it was also kind of split.
Okay. Were you able to identify, why or ascertain why the conflict happened?
I was only able to get one side of how the story happened. And it was because they had a verbal altercation as far as helping out customers since one was busy. And I guess the suspect didn't like how he was being spoken to, so he took it into his own hands and decided to fight.
Okay. Did the defendant look like he had any visible injuries?
Yes.
The defendant looked like he had visible injuries as well?
No, the defendant wasn't on scene. Only one party was on scene.
Okay, gotcha. So how were you able to identify like who did this? Who the defendant?
They gave me the name of the person, and they were supposed to come and was able to show me video footage while I was there, and they were supposed to come and submit it because the business had to actually get access to pull it.
Okay, so you saw the defendant on footage.
Correct.
Okay, and so how were you able, were you able to ascertain like his name or?
I was able to get the name from the victim and also the store manager. And there was one more employee that said that they seen the altercation as well.
Okay, and so who was the person that you saw on footage and that whose name they gave? What name did they give? Like who was the victim? Who was the perpetrator?
So the victim, I know his name was Yasir Reed, and the suspect, I want to say his name was Carl Jackson.
Okay. And do you see the person that you saw on the footage? Do you see him here on the screen?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Where do you see him?
Top left corner, it's a beard, orange jumpsuit.
Okay, great. No further questions.
All right, Attorney Lane.
Hey, good morning, officer.
Morning.
So the video you reviewed was from the AutoZone security camera?
Right.
How was the quality of it? Was it clear?
It wasn't as clear, which is why I more so went based on the multiple witnesses that I had as far as the employee and the manager.
Did either one of those individuals provide statements?
No, nobody wanted to write a statement, not even the victim.
And in fact, the victim didn't want to press charges, correct?
Correct.
And he didn't report the incident until 7 hours after it occurred?
Correct.
Okay. From looking at the video, you said it wasn't that great a quality. Can you tell for sure that it was Mr. Jackson, or is it a little unclear?
No, which is why I said I went more so based off the testimonies that I got from speaking to the people in the store.
Which you said was two individuals, the alleged victim and just one other witness?
Correct.
And neither one provided a written statement?
Correct.
Was there any audio in the video?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Did you ever hear or did from speaking with the witnesses, did either one of them, or the alleged victim and the witness, did either one of them ever tell you that Mr. Jackson was actually the victim here and that Reed had threatened to shoot him?
No.
Okay. And you don't recall listening to any audio on the video?
Objection. I'm sorry. He's testifying?
Overrule. Go ahead, Attorney Lane.
And you don't recall being able to listen to any audio with the video that you reviewed?
No, I don't recall.
Has anyone interviewed Mr. Jackson to get his side of what occurred?
No, he wasn't on scene, and when I called the phone number provided to get him back to the scene, I didn't get an answer.
Okay. All right. Thank you, officer. I don't have any further questions.
All right, any redirect?
Yes, could you just can I have one moment to consult with co-counsel for 1 minute? Okay, thank you so much. Okay, nothing further. Thank you so much. Oh, can you hear me?
Right.
Uh-huh.
Oh.
All right, closing arguments. Assistant Solicitor Bing.
Yes. The elements of battery are intentionally causing substantial physical harm or visible bodily harm to another. Based on the testimony of the witness, where she observed blood from the victim as a result of being punched by the defendant, and getting identifying testimony of who actually was the perpetrator, I would ask that the court would bind this over to state court. Thank you.
All right, Attorney Lane.
Your Honor, we'd request a dismissal of the battery charge just based off the testimony and the report that the alleged victim did not want to press charges. They refused to make a written statement along as this other alleged witness who's not mentioned in the report. The video is poor quality, according to the testimony, or at least not good enough to where the officer was able to make out an ID of Mr. Jackson. And then also there's an argument to be made for self-defense, and Mr. Jackson was feeling threatened due to the threats that had been made to him. So just based on that, we request a dismissal.
All right, so based on the evidence presented, I do find that there is sufficient probable cause to bind this charge over to the State Court of Clayton County. That's the order of the court.
Your Honor, if we could make a request for bond, this is another one, I guess, I don't know why bond wasn't set at first appearance, but he's been in jail since September 9th without a bond.
Your Honor,
Mhm.
Mr. Jackson was one of the ones that you were having technical difficulty in JOTS, but a bond was given.
Do you know how much the bond is, and can you see it?
Yes, Your Honor, I emailed it over to you as well.
It says 3,000. It says his bond is at 3,000.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, I was just looking in CCI yesterday and I couldn't find
So,
anything. Thank you.
And Yate, can we please make sure that is, because you said there were some difficulties, make sure that is available for him to bond out.
I emailed, what I did was I did email it over to classifications, but unfortunately